Howdy, name's Sony. Welcome back to another VR video. Today's video takes a little bit of random stuff that I've been working on for a while. I showed a little bit about this project in the last video, and it kind of got me wanting to just work on stuff a little bit, so I decided that's kind of what I'm going to be doing. So there we go. I've been working mainly on some VR work, Project TX. If you haven't watched that, check it out on the channel, as well as some Tubby Super Cat work. And yeah, he's wearing a Sonic Cat hat because once again it's going to be relevant to that. But beyond that, I just ended up doing a little bit of work based on the logic that I had mentioned in one of the previous videos. So in one video I'd mentioned a little bit about smoothing the character controller in a sort of Sonic-like place, and I've been working a little bit on that. Now, I haven't actually put anything up. I've not got a showcase of that, but it kind of got me back into just playing around with the Sonic fan game that I'd worked on, and I did mention that that was intended for VR, so I decided I might as well zoom the camera in. So I decided I might as well just get that VR bit finished. So here we go. I've got a little bit of the VR bit finished now. Let's switch over to that. I'll get it started and hopefully have the volume low enough that it is not too audible on the mic. There we go. Yay. Right. Let's see. Is it audible? It's just about audible on the mic. But hopefully it's good enough, right? We don't want it to be too loud. There we go. Is this okay? This is okay. I hope this is okay. I can't really tell. Let's have a go. So here we go. Switch over to our usual camera and pop up. There we go. Brilliant. So here's the usual stuff. You'll notice the frame rate's a little bit low. That's because it's running the whole VR system right now. Just a little bit ridiculous, right? So this is the standard process, the standard sort of 2D on-screen version of the game. I'm going to put my headset on and we'll have a look at that. So here we go. Let's switch over to full virtual and I will switch onto the VR mode. Let's have a go. There we go. Right. Press a button and press another button. There we go. You should be able to see my headset view now. I'm going to still be speaking into the main microphone, the desktop mic, so it's not going to be perfect audio today. But yeah, there we go. I've actually got regular controls, right? And I am in third person VR right now. So we've got literally, the controllers are controlling it properly, right? Just using my regular controllers. The controllers themselves don't do anything. I'm just using them for the buttons and analogs and stuff. And you can see I can look around completely while Sonic runs around. It's absolutely wonderful. Everything's at real scale, where Sonic is about slightly shorter than me, right? Wow. It's beautiful. So yeah, there we go. It just feels really great actually in third person. I decided I'm gonna go both third person and first person, and I can switch between them actually. So click, there we go. And you can see my body's a little bit in front of me. So if I just, there we go, recenter. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. This is in first person. You can see that the camera does tilt, and I can kind of control my rotation as well, regardless of where Sonic's running. Yeah. And you can see everything's just massive for me now. So brilliant. Let's try and do the corkscrew there. Yay. So there we go. Absolutely brilliant. Ooh, I love it. Oh, I'm running on the side of the edge there. Oh. There we go. And I didn't really add my locomotion system or anything like that yet. It's just this is just a quick run. Ooh, having trouble there. A quick run through of the build so far. Like I'd mentioned in the previous video, this is a full replication of the original game, which is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Emerald Hill Zone, Act 1. And you can see here that from the side of each section, you can actually see the rest of the level at a sort of side view. and that was the intent with the level design here. Now this is an almost finished level now. I just want to finish off the background work and stuff just to make it look nice. I'll probably put some objects and stuff in the water there, and that's about it really, and then there's nothing more to do. There's something else that I should mention as well, which is part of the VR elements. So here we go, back to third person view. So here we go, I'm looking around in VR, right? Obviously the camera also turns, but there's a problem here. It doesn't actually tilt when, oh, he's having trouble there. It doesn't actually tilt when he runs up or down anything, right? I can just turn my head if I want to. So it kind of gets a little bit cooler. Woo! It's kind of just watching it much more cinematic, but it's also much harder to control. And as you can see, that that knocked out my VR completely. Wonderful. But that's okay. There we go. And I give up. Let me just press run again. For goodness sake, it completely knocked out the VR. Really gotta fix that, don't I? There we go. Back in. Wonderful. So, recenter. Brilliant. Right. So there we go. Yeah. Rerun through the whole level. It's very, very nice to play in VR. Honestly, brilliant. The reason I went with the whole... Oh, for God's sake. Press play again. What a level. What a video. What a video. Completely amateur. Eesh. Just the most amateur video I've made so far. For goodness sake. Yeah. So anyways, the reason I went with this sort of method was that I wanted to build a system that kind of works both with VR and without VR completely, right? And that's exactly what's going on here, where it's basically a fully non-VR game, and then I can just switch to full VR mode. And I have also got some, as we already noted, camera controls that change depending whether depending on whether you're in VR or not. So, God, even my speaking today is just messed up. Wish. What a week, right? What a week. It's been a bit of a lazy week this week anyway. So there we go. And I'm stuck. There we go. Just a quick video to jump off the level. Oh my goodness. I am playing terribly today. What did I do? Right, there we go. Press that. And then press that. Jeez. Right, so yeah, I don't know what I'm doing today. Honestly, this is just for fun. One of those fun videos where I keep making ridiculous mistakes. But there we go. Let's just go back to first person and do the usual. It's because I'm used to running the game in third person, right? Where the camera actually turns. So because I'm manually turning the camera, or I could just turn around in my play space. I'm sort of expecting the camera to turn automatically, which it does even in the third person VR, right? It's actually turning the camera automatically while I can look around. So, pretty brilliant. And then obviously here you can see where his sort of upside downing is very difficult to control, because I don't know which way the analog stick will point, right? So still a little bit of work on that as well, on how he should sort of handle directionality. Let's catch some of these. Woo! I love this. Honestly, the best thing about this is the way I've done those rings. I really do enjoy that sort of design. There we go. Nice and controlled. And then this place is really nice. I love this in VR, this whole area here. Woo! Everything's massive. Giant place. So yeah, the intent is to actually put a release of this out. So I'm actually working on a release. I did plan to make a release for this today, but unfortunately a little bit of work was involved in getting the sort of VR stuff working and the code updated to the new Unity. Because this project was started like 3 years ago, according to my earlier videos. So not exactly new, and definitely working on a much older version of Unity, so I had to upgrade it, and a little bit of work involved in doing that upgrade as well. There we go, that's the end of the level. You can see here Sonic, I can sort of turn around without him turning around. Not the most perfectly done VR, but there we go. This was it was sort of the early portions of the VR elements there. And that's about it really. it's just for fun. So yeah, I wanted to actually put a proper VR system into here. Right now it only does kind of some work on the camera, and that's it really. So obviously here the camera doesn't tilt, and that's about all it does right now in relation to VR. Whew, I like that. But what I wanted to do is actually target enemies and stuff using the controllers, which would be of course his hands, right? So if you imagine his hands would be controlled by the controllers there, and they would follow that as you would expect, like a proper VR game, and it would feel good. I would also add my locomotion as an option this time, of course, because it's not the easiest thing to use, but it's definitely a little bit more fun because you kind of have to do the physical running yourself. But there we go. I'll just run through the course in reverse, and that's about it really. It was just sort of for fun. I wanted to show off this project a little bit and just point out that it is actually going to be in VR, and it looks pretty cool. Pretty cool in VR actually. So there we go. And you've got a bunch of pop-in objects right now. It's funny actually that I mentioned that, because obviously a number of people who have joined me recently have joined because of my talks on the Sonic Frontiers videos, and a number of those problems you can see in this project, right? Things like running down on a ledge just because you were sort of, like, despite how harsh the angle is, running down on a ledge, and things like that. Those are all things that are in this project, like problems that are in this project. The pop-in is just purely by choice, like that's just because it's VR, so I kind of lowered the distance on everything, so you can see everything just popping in, and that goes for the rings as well. But yeah, running down on ledges and stuff, and the bumps in terrain, and you can see that here really clearly. You see there where he's bouncing, and in fact, if you can hear the audio properly, you can hear him landing. There we go. You can hear him landing, playing the land audio. That's because he's actually bumping off the ground and then counting as regrounded again on these sections here. So the same problems exist in this project. The thing is, most of the groundwork and character control work here was done in 3 days. Like, I just haven't upgraded it since. So it's not like this is a super polished character controller. I've done plenty of much better versions of this since then, right? Of character control. Ooh, I don't want to fall off the level again. Of character control since this, right? So that's the thing. What I was working on a little bit was the actual idea of smoothing that ground control. So here you can see the ground control is very bumpy, right? And I've been working on smoothing that as well. And the idea was to retrace forward further than the movement would actually make. So the way this works in terms of collision is, as I walk towards something, the collision detection actually traces the movement that I make. So if I make this movement here within the frame, the collision trace actually traces the movement first, checks if I collide with something, and then obviously stops me in place, right? And it even lowers the velocity as well a little bit. But ooh, he doesn't like hitting that spring from that side, does he? But what I was thinking to do was, instead of tracing the exact movement that I'm making, I would trace further than the movement that I'm making in the frame, right? You can see he actually starts running, he kind of bounces back a little bit as well. So there's some rotation problems going on in here as well, right? But the idea was to further trace beyond what's currently the movement that I'm currently trying to make, and actually detect whether I've hit a wall or whether I will hit a wall in the coming few frames, right? And that means that I would know whether what I've hit on the floor, whether my sudden jolt of a movement was actually due to a bump in the ground, or if it's something like an angle, right? Because if I was to trace further right now, what would happen here is you would see the curve of this ramp, right? You would detect the curve, detect the curve, detect the curve. But if there was a tiny little bump in the floor, let's say this little section here, right? Then what you would detect is you'd detect the bump, angle up, and then detect nothing. So you would know that there's a bump in the floor, even though you haven't actually moved across there yet, right? So tracing forward a little bit more than necessary. And that's kind of the plan that I've had. I've done some preliminary testing with that, and I'd really like to implement that in a project. And I have a little project going to test a little bit of more smooth, round physics going on in that little project, which is obviously more than the platformers that I regularly make. And that's really the intent with that. So anyways, thanks very much for watching this video. I know it's a little bit rambly today. It's kind of all over the place. This one was just for fun. I just wanted to pop into here and see it in VR again. And I've got a bit of a headache, but then I had that headache before I started, so not a problem. But yeah, it isn't exactly the easiest thing to play in VR, right? It's and I am seated right now. I am actually sitting down. So anyways, thanks very much for watching the video. I shall see you in the next video, and I probably will have some fun stuff going on. Hopefully I shall be able to release this video, this project, as soon as possible as well, so you'll be able to play this in VR, without VR, with VR, however you want to, first person, third person, however you want to play the game. And it'll be using Oculus as well as OpenXR if you just need OpenXR devices, right? So anyone with VR, you should be able to play this game, as long as you've got access to PC VR, right? It won't be on Quest or anything like that. I don't know. I haven't worked on there much in my own projects, so I kind of don't really plan to work on there unless it's something that I've already planned for that device, right? Because this as well, the optimizations would be a bit of a pain. So I'm not really gonna put that kind of time in. This project's already really done, so the intent is to put minimal time on it just to put a release out there so that you can actually play it. It just needs a little bit of options, and that's about it really. So that's that. Thanks very much for watching. I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.